Take a quick pause. Did you know that over 90% of you watching haven't hit the subscribe button yet? If you're enjoying this video, take a second to subscribe and hit the like button. It helps us bring you more gripping stories every day. Also, we'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your city in the comments so we can see how far our stories are reaching. Your support really keeps us going. Now, let's jump back into the video. I should have known something was off the moment I stepped out of the elevator. My office had let out early, a rare thing. I didn't tell anyone I was coming home. I just had this gut feeling, the kind of instinct that creeps into your bones like a slow leak, whispering that something wasn't right. For someone who had built a multi-million-dollar logistics firm from the ground up, I'd learned to trust my instincts. They rarely failed me in business, and they weren't about to start. Now, as I approached the door to our penthouse condo, I heard muffled voices. Not one, not two, several. Laughter, nervous laughter, then silence. That uneasy kind of silence people only slip into when they're hiding something. I slipped the key in quietly, turned the knob without a sound, and stepped inside. Everyone froze. I mean, everyone. My wife Amelia, her sister Jessica, Jessica's husband Brandon, Amelia's parents, even her grandmother. All sitting in a semicircle in the living room, like they were hosting an intervention or a secret tribunal. No one spoke for a beat, just wide eyes and frozen postures. Amelia's smile cracked first. "Oh, you're home early," she said too brightly, her voice pitched high like a child caught with her hand in the cookie jar. I scanned the room. My voice was calm. Too calm. "What's going on?" Her father cleared his throat. Her mother shifted uncomfortably. Jessica couldn't even meet my eyes. It was Brandon who spoke. Brandon, the brother-in-law I had tolerated out of family obligation. The same man I once caught lying about embezzling funds from his former employer, only to be hushed by Amelia, who begged me not to make a scene. "Well, since you're here," Brandon said, standing, "we might as well bring you into the loop." I tilted my head slightly. "The loop?" Amelia rushed in. "It's not what you think." "I haven't said what I think yet," I said, eyes locked on hers. "So enlighten me." There was a beat. Then Amelia inhaled sharply and took my hand softly like she thought it would soften the blow. "I was going to tell you," she said. I didn't know how." "Tell me what?" "We've agreed." "Well, I've agreed to help Jessica and Brandon." My brow furrowed. Help them with what? Jessica finally raised her eyes. They were glassy, desperate. "We've been trying for years and nothing has worked. The treatments, the hormones, the IVF. Everything has failed," Brandon added quickly. "It's been emotionally and financially draining. We're at the end of our rope." "And so," Amelia whispered, her voice trembling, "I offered to be their surrogate." The words didn't register at first. "Surrogate?" I blinked. The room blurred, then sharpened. "You what?" "I offered to carry their child," she repeated. "For them, it's the only way they'll have a baby." I pulled my hand away. "And when were you planning to tell me this? Before or after you got pregnant with another man's child?" Jessica gasped. Her mother scolded. "There's no need to make it sound so crude." I turned to her. "No need. You're all sitting here discussing using my wife's body for childbirth like she's an incubator, and I'm the last one to know." Amelia stepped forward, defensive. "Now, I'm not just your wife. I'm a sister, a daughter, and a woman with her own mind. I can make this choice." "And I'm your husband," I said coldly. "You don't get to make life-altering decisions involving your body, your health, and our marriage without telling me." "That's not empowerment, Amelia. That's betrayal." Her father raised his hands. "Let's not turn this into a war. This is a family matter." I turned to him, my voice lower now, razor sharp. "You're damn right it's a family matter. My family, my wife, my future." And then came the twist. Brandon spoke with the smugness of a man who thought he was untouchable. We agreed it would be done the natural way. Doctors cost too much, and success rates are still low. Jessica and Amelia, he looked between them, thought this would be more personal, intimate. I froze. Amelia looked like she'd just swallowed poison. That's not how I wanted you to find out, she whispered. I couldn't breathe for a moment. You were going to sleep with him? I said slowly. To get pregnant for them. It's not about sex, she said. It's about helping them have a child. It's one time, one act that would erase everything between us. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I couldn't believe I had spent the last 7 years loving this woman, supporting her, protecting her, even from her own family's manipulation, and she couldn't even give me the dignity of honesty. Do you even hear yourselves? I asked, looking around the room. Do any of you realize how sick this is? Jessica started crying. You're blowing this out of proportion. Am I? I shot back. Would you be okay if Brandon and I decided he would sleep with Amelia to make you a mother? Would you sit here and smile through that? She didn't answer. Amelia shook her head. We just wanted to keep it simple. Avoid complications. I nodded slowly, stepping back. My heart was pounding. My world felt like it was sliding out from under my feet. Simple, I repeated. You thought sleeping with your sister's husband to conceive a child was simple? Brandon shrugged. It's biology. Why get emotional about it? I looked at him. Really? Looked at him. The arrogance, the entitlement, the utter lack of remorse. Get out, I said quietly. He blinked. What? Get out of my home. This isn't, I said get out, I repeated louder this time. All of you now. Amelia looked stunned. We're your family. No, I said, turning to her. You were my wife. You were supposed to be my partner, my confidant, the one person I could trust above all else. And you threw that away. Jessica rose to her feet, clutching her sister's hand. Please don't make her choose between you and us. She already did, I said coldly. And now so will I. Everyone stood slowly, awkwardly. No one said another word. They just filed out. Some in tears, some in anger. Amelia was the last to leave. She hesitated in the doorway. You don't understand, she whispered. I was doing this out of love. No, I said you were doing it out of guilt, out of pressure, out of some delusion that your body, your loyalty, your marriage could be sacrificed for someone else's happiness. That's not love. That's self-destruction. She walked out. The door clicked shut. And then slowly I pulled my phone from my pocket and opened the app I had used when I walked through the front door. The moment I heard the strange silence, I had pressed record. Every word of that meeting, every admission, every plan, every lie was now saved. I stared at the screen, a cold sense of clarity washing over me. This wasn't just betrayal, this was war. And I wasn't going to fight it in the dark. I didn't sleep that night. Not a second. I sat alone in the living room, the lights dimmed, the silence loud. The city lights glimmered through the glass windows, casting long shadows across the room. I couldn't stop hearing their voices. Amelia's soft, trembling confession, Brandon's smug rationalizations, Jessica's tear-airy guilt, her parents' indifference. It all echoed in my head, a chorus of betrayal. I played the recording again, then again. Each time it sank in deeper. Not just what they had said, but what they hadn't. Not once had anyone in that room stopped to consider me. Not once had they asked if I was okay with my wife sleeping with her sister's husband. They didn't pause to think what this would do to our marriage, our trust, or my dignity, because to them, I was just there, a background character in their twisted little drama. That was their mistake. By morning, I had a plan. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. That's not who I am. I've built my entire life around strategy, control, and timing. I wasn't about to let emotions run wild now. Not when I had something they didn't. Proof. By noon, I called Amelia. She answered on the second ring. Her voice was hesitant. I didn't expect you to call. I need to see you, I said. Today, she hesitated. Is this about yesterday? Yes, I said, and you're going to want to hear what I have to say. We agreed to meet at a small cafe, neutral ground. When she arrived, she looked pale, hollow, like she hadn't slept either. Her hands trembled as she reached for her coffee. I'm sorry, she said immediately. I know I handled it wrong. I should have told you. Why didn't you? She looked away. Because I knew you'd say no. I leaned back, studying her. You're right, I would have. Not because I'm selfish, but because I love you, and I know what that kind of decision would do to you, to us. Her eyes welled. You don't understand how desperate Jessica is. She's my sister. I can't just stand by and watch her suffer. And I'm your husband, I said. You're supposed to be standing beside me, not volunteering your body like it's on loan. She swallowed. It wasn't like that. It is like that. And you made that decision without me. She went quiet. I could see the war waging inside her. Loyalty, guilt, confusion. I wasn't going to go through with the natural conception, she said softly. That part, that wasn't my idea. I narrowed my eyes. But you didn't object. I didn't know how. She said they cornered me. Jessica begged me. Brandon said it would be easier, more natural. My parents said it was just biology. I felt trapped. I studied her face, her body language. I believe she was torn, but that didn't absolve her. You let yourself get dragged into a decision that was never yours to make alone, and now it's too late. She looked alarmed. What do you mean? I reached into my coat pocket and set my phone on the table. I recorded the conversation yesterday, every word. From the moment I stepped inside, her face drained of color. Why? Because I sensed something was wrong and I needed to protect myself. She leaned in. You can't share that. Please, I haven't shared anything yet, I said. But I'm not going to let this be buried. You and your family tried to make me the fool. You held a secret meeting in my home. You discussed things that would devastate our marriage. You were ready to throw everything away for them. She covered her face with her hands. I wasn't thinking straight. No, I said. You were thinking like a woman who's been manipulated by her family for so long. She's forgotten how to stand on her own. There was a long silence between us. Then she whispered, What are you going to do? I'm going to talk to your family, I said. All of them. One more time with you by my side. What good will that do? I looked her straight in the eyes. It's time they understand who they're dealing with. She didn't argue. Later that day, I invited everyone back to the condo. They came reluctantly. Jessica looked anxious. Brandon looked annoyed. Amelia's parents exchanged tense glances. Only her grandmother said nothing, simply watching, silent and observant. I stood before them all. Before we begin, I said, holding up my phone, you should all know I recorded our last meeting. Every word, everything said about conceiving naturally, about keeping me out of the decision, about reducing my wife to a vessel. The silence that followed was deafening. You what? Brandon barked. I recorded it, I repeated calmly. And I have already stored it in 2 secure cloud servers. Jessica turned to Amelia. You let him do that? Amelia shook her head, stunned. I didn't know exactly, I said. Just like I didn't know about your plan. Her father tried to speak, but I raised a hand. Number. You don't get to twist this. What happened was betrayal, pure and simple. I turned to Brandon and you suggesting you sleep with my wife under the guise of saving money. Do you even hear yourself? That's not just disrespectful. It's indecent. He clenched his jaw. You don't scare me. I'm not trying to, I said. But let me make this clear. If any of you try to spin this or manipulate Amelia further, or even think about pressuring her into continuing this path, I will release the recording. And it won't just damage your reputation, it'll expose how far you were willing to go for your own selfish agenda. Jessica broke down. We didn't mean for it to get this far. No, I said you were ready to involve lawyers if Amelia changed her mind. I've seen the text. Amelia looked up, startled. What? I turned to her. Yes, your sister and Brandon discussed legal steps to lock you in. Jessica sobbed harder. We were scared. We thought you'd convince her to back out. So you tried to trap her, I said, and you almost succeeded. Her parents sat in stunned silence. I looked around the room. This is your family, Amelia, and they were ready to destroy you to get what they wanted. Amelia's voice trembled. I didn't know. I thought I was helping. I stepped toward her. You were trying to be the hero, but they didn't want a hero. They wanted a sacrifice. She stared at me, tears in her eyes. I could see it clicking in her mind, the manipulation, the guilt, the twisted expectations. I don't want to go through with it, she whispered. I nodded. Then don't. Brandon stood. This isn't over. No, I said, meeting his glare. It is. They all left, some furious, some defeated. Amelia stayed behind, numb. I sat with her for a long time. I thought I was doing something noble, she said. I know, I replied. But true nobility doesn't come at the cost of your soul or our marriage. She looked up. Can we fix this? I don't know yet, I said honestly, but that depends on you. Are you ready to set boundaries with your family? She nodded slowly. Yes. For the first time, I think I finally see what they've been doing to me. We sat there in the silence, not as husband and wife. Not yet, but as two people finally facing the truth. The story wasn't over, but I had taken control, and I wasn't letting go again. A week passed. 7 long, quiet days that felt like a lifetime. Amelia and I barely spoke. We weren't arguing. We just didn't know how to begin. The space between us was filled with everything unspoken. Fear, regret, betrayal, hope. She spent most of her time in the guest room. I stayed busy at work, though my heart wasn't in it. Every time I looked at her, I saw the woman I married and the choices she made without me. And every time she looked at me, I saw the guilt in her eyes, like she was waiting for me to say I couldn't do this anymore. But I hadn't left. Not because I'd forgiven her completely, because something inside me still held on. It was Amelia who broke the silence. Late one night, she knocked on my study door. Her face was pale, her hands trembling slightly, but her eyes were clear in a way they hadn't been in years. Can we talk? She asked. I closed my laptop. Of course. She stepped inside and sat on the edge of the couch across from me. I've been going to therapy, she said, voice quiet. Alone. That caught me off guard. I didn't want to tell you until I was sure. I'd stick with it. I've gone 3 times this week. My therapist helped me realize some things. I leaned forward. Like what? She swallowed. That I've never really said no to my family. Not truly. Not since I was a kid. My whole life has been built around trying to please them, trying to be what they needed, even if it broke me. I nodded slowly. I'd always suspected it, but hearing her say it felt different. I thought if I could help Jessica, maybe I'd finally be enough in their eyes. Maybe they'd stop seeing me as the one who made different choices, the one who married outside their expectations, the one who didn't have kids yet. I wanted to belong again. And what about me? I asked gently. Where did I fit into that? She looked down. You didn't. And that's the part that breaks me. I hurt the one person who never tried to control me, who never asked me to be anyone other than myself. A tear slid down her cheek. I was so desperate for their approval. I forgot the promises I made to you. I forgot who I was with you. I was silent for a long time. Then I asked, and now? She met my eyes. I cut them off. I blinked. What? I told them I need time and space. I told them I won't be a surrogate and that if they can't respect my decision, they can't be part of my life right now. Even Jessica, she nodded. Especially Jessica. She cried. She said I was abandoning her. But I finally told her the truth. She didn't want a sister. She wanted a solution. I can't be that for her anymore. A weight I didn't know I was carrying lifted slightly from my chest. And Brandon, I asked. She looked away. He sent a message, said I was selfish, and that Jessica deserves better. I blocked him. I studied her carefully. And are you doing this for you? I asked. Or because you think it'll fix things between us? Her answer came quickly. For me, because I don't like who I've become, and I want to be someone worthy of you again. That hit me hard. I never stopped loving you, I said, but love doesn't survive without trust, and rebuilding that, it's going to take time. I'll wait, she said. and however long it takes. We sat in silence, the air between us charged with something new. Not pain, not fear, hope. In the weeks that followed, things began to shift. Amelia and I started talking again. Not about the past, at least not always, but about us, our goals, our fears, our future. We went to counseling separately at first, then together. We learned how to listen again, how to disagree without spiraling into silence, how to sit in the discomfort instead of running from it. I still kept the recording, not as a threat, but as a reminder of how far things had gone, of how blind love can make us, of what we almost lost. But I never needed to use it. Until one day I got a knock at my office. It was Jessica. She looked thinner, tired, but determined. "I know I shouldn't be here," she said, "but I had to talk to you. Please." I hesitated, then nodded for her to come in. She sat across from me, her hands gripping her bag tightly. "I just wanted to say I'm sorry," she began. "Not just for what happened, but for how I treated Amelia." I didn't see what I was doing until she cut me off. And even then, I was angry at first. But she was right. I remained quiet. I let my desperation turn into control. And Brandon, he left me. That surprised me. He said if I couldn't convince Amelia, I wasn't trying hard enough. He wanted the baby more than he wanted me. I took a breath. "I'm sorry that happened. I came to ask if you'd help me talk to Amelia. I just want her to know I'm trying, that I'm not asking for anything anymore." I nodded slowly. "I'll let her know you came by, but it's up to her." Jessica nodded, eyes shining. "Thank you." As she stood to leave, I added, "And, Jessica, if you ever try to manipulate her again, if I even sense anything underhanded, I will release that recording." She froze, then nodded. "I understand." After she left, I called Amelia. She agreed to meet with Jessica, not out of obligation, but because she felt ready. Their conversation wasn't perfect, but it was honest. There were tears, apologies, no promises of immediate forgiveness, just the beginning of something new. Months passed. We rebuilt. Amelia got a job at a local nonprofit helping women with fertility struggles. She said it felt like she was finally turning her pain into purpose. I saw a strength in her I hadn't seen in years, a quiet fire. We traveled together, just the two of us, rediscovered why we fell in love in the first place. There were still difficult days, moments when shadows of the past crept in, but we faced them together now. And one night, while we stood watching the sunset from our balcony, she turned to me and said, "I want to try for us to have a child when you're ready." I looked at her, heart full. "We'll do it our way," I said. "No, no secrets, no outside pressure, just us." She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Just us." It wasn't a fairy tale ending, it was better. It was real, and we'd earned every piece of it.